And we just learned moments ago that a federal judge has given the longest January 6th related sentence so far. 18 years behind bars handed down against Stewart Rhodes, founder of the right-wing extremist group Oath Keepers. He had been convicted of seditious conspiracy related to the January 6th attack on the Capitol. But Rhodes did not go quietly, making highly charged comments to the judge and calling himself a political prisoner and accusing Antifa and the radical left of targeting Trump supporters. NBC's Reilly joins us from the courthouse. Here with me, Lisa Rubin, MSNBC legal analyst. I want to talk about this sentence because it clearly was important to prosecutors, as you know, Ryan. They wanted to set an example. They wanted it to be a deterrent to other domestic terrorists. 18 years, long time, not as long as the 25 they sought. The argument from his defense attorneys was this is a guy who served his country. I think he was an Army paratrooper. And they also said, you know, he headed this organization, which is the organization that got him into trouble in the first place. In any case, I'm so curious to hear the judge's thinking in this case, why he decided on 18 years.
That's right. Well, Judge Maddow wanted to make abundantly clear that Stewart Rhodes is not a political prisoner and he's there because of his actions, as well as, you know, making the point that Stewart Rhodes has wanted this for a long time, has talked about violent action against the government for a very long time and has been involved in these anti-government incidents going back, you know, for more than a decade, to the early Obama era. So he's really this character that is, as we've seen throughout, showing up at these moments of political fragility throughout modern American history, essentially, and was there on January 6th and was talking about the idea that the Oath Keepers could take over and keep Trump in office, you know, and talking about doing it with or without Trump and saying that they needed to take over the government. This was going to be lost. January 6th was the final moment, their final moment to take over the government before, in his view, it would be lost forever. And, you know, as you mentioned, Rhodes did not go quietly into the night. He was using this moment as much as he could to sort of spread additional propaganda, I suppose. And actually, even during his sentencing hearing here, gave an endorsement to the former president, to Donald Trump, saying that he hopes Donald Trump wins in 2024, and saying that that's what he meant when he talked about quote unquote regime change, in a comment that he made when he called into a group of individuals who are stationed outside of the jail that holds some January 6th defendants earlier this week. When he talked about regime change, he said he was talking about the fact that he hopes Donald Trump wins in 2024. And of course, Donald Trump has said that he would pardon some, if not all, of the January 6th defendants, that he's going to be looking very closely at those cases. So obviously a lot of January 6th defendants are sort of hitching their wagon to Trump 24 going forward.
Can you describe, if you will, sort of the mood around the courthouse and the expectation going into this?
You know, it was a lot different because yesterday we had this sort of omnibus hearing for all of the Oath Keeper defendants, where we saw these victim impact statements. In other words, they didn't want to have the victims have to come in for each individual sentence as it happened. Rhodes was the big one. That's the one everyone's concentrated on. But there's another one for another one of his co-defendants this afternoon. There's two more tomorrow. So essentially, they're trying to put all these resources together and have them all at once, and have those statements happen all at once. And you know, what was remarkable is just the difference between the trial and the actual sentencing hearing, because during the trial, of course, when you're before a jury, you have individuals come in suits, right? They're defendants allowed to be dressed up. You try to keep hidden the fact that they were actually incarcerated. That's something that the jurors weren't supposed to consider. But here, you know, you have a bunch of these defendants now are just showing up in prison garb, right? So Stewart Rhodes was standing and had his sentence imposed when he was wearing what you would expect, an orange jumpsuit, and making these political points in an orange jumpsuit, which is not probably the image that he would want to portray to the world. But, you know, he definitely wanted to use this moment to get his message through as much as he could. And, you know, before he was sentenced to 18 years. Under federal sentencing guidelines, you have to do at least 80% of that time. So this is going to be a very significant sentence, and will take him out at least for the next several presidential elections. That is, unless he is pardoned by potentially a future President Donald Trump.